Hi. Hold on. Can you guys see me and hear me? Are we up? Hey. Hush. Can you guys see me and hear me? Are we up? Okay. Now I see it. Okay. We're up. Sorry about the background noise. My Great Dane seems to be barking at something. Hold on. Dolan. Sorry about my dog, guys. Anyway, my name is Arsina. Can you guys see me and hear me? Are we up? Okay, now I see it. Okay, we're up. Sorry about the background noise. My Great Dane seems to be barking at something. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. Anyway, my name is Arsina. Can you hear me? Are we up? Hold on. I'm having technical difficulties. Okay, now I see it. Okay, we're up. Sorry about the background noise. My Great Dane seems to be barking at something. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about the long pause. I was trying to make sure it was right. Okay, my name is Arsina, and I run the Originals Always and Forever, which is the Originals AAF. Okay, so I run that as well. I also write for the Vampire Diaries fan site. Yay! Shout out to my girls. And of course, the wonderful people that we love at Instacator. Thank them for hosting this wonderful chat and getting us in touch with each other, because I think that's a good thing for the fans to just get together and talk and have these chats, because we love the show, obviously. And it's awesome that we can just chat, hang out, and get to know each other. So let's chat and hang out and get to know each other. Oh, you have a Great Dane too? I just seen that come down. Yes, I do. He's old, but I love him. He's my baby. So did anybody want to start off with any questions about the show? Like the TCAs were yesterday. They had a big panel. They revealed a couple of things that were coming for the second half of the Originals. I'm more or less excited to see the aunt, to see exactly what's going on with that, to see whether or not she is going to like come back, and to see if they're going to bring Freya back too, because I'm excited. I mean, in TVD, they kind of just left that first sibling kind of in the like mist or wind, so to speak. Like you really couldn't tell whether it was female or male. You just knew that they had lost one before they came over to the new world. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see like if Freya does come back, and if she does, like kind of see how she's going to interact, because she's going to have brothers and sisters that she never knew she had. Because I mean, the only one I think that she interacted with was just Finn. So that will be interesting. Okay, so let's talk Esther. Emily wants to talk Esther. I have a love-hate relationship with Esther. Beginning back in TVD, I've always I've always felt deep in my heart that like she had the best interests of her kids at first, but then learning more of her backstory and learning that basically, all the things that she tried to do, and then of course coming back like it seems like 1,001 times to kill her children or set the balance right, kind of like swayed me to like maybe I don't like this person. But there's still times that like I feel kind of sorry for her as well, which I think she kind of has that same effect on me that Klaus had. Like I love to hate him. So it's like you see this backstory and you see this woman who is just like heartbroken over like losing another child. But then of course, like coming into the originals this season, we learned really what happened to the first child. So it's almost like, oh my God. So it's like they just keep adding layers, which I think is like great. The writers are doing an awesome job at that. So I think that's really adding different layers to the family as well. I don't know if she's gonna be a vampire though. I'm kind of interested to see whether or not she turned or if she just died. But I have this feeling that she turned because Esther's gonna want to get even, and especially with Klaus. And I feel as though now she can immortally, of course, without dying, even though he has tried to kill her numerous times, be like a nuisance, be just like a thorn in his side. Now since she's a vampire. So that's going to be interesting to see. So is it anybody? Yeah, someone did say it seems she's got her priorities out of whack. She does. And that's like the biggest thing about it. Like you see her um camera. Let's see. Okay. So it was a little lapse. See, I think she's going to find out about Hope because, and I know this week, like in the fandom, because I love to like keep up with what everybody's talking about, how everybody feels about the show. And a lot of people was kind of taken back by Cammy going to the safe house, apparently, to meet Hope this upcoming episode, which, of course, I know you guys are excited. The premiere is next Monday. But I think that that's how she's going to try to find out. If she doesn't take, well, I'm obviously under the impression that she's still going to be around, but Finn is like a mama's boy. So I feel as though once Finn finds out, he has this strange little obsession he has going on right now with Cammy. So I feel like once he finds out that Cammy's not in the quarter, he's going to be on this whole thing, let me find her or relocate her. And I'm hoping that maybe she'll take Vervain, or maybe something to happen to whether, she'll agree to be, compelled like Marcel was. Um, Maybe something like that, to where he can find out about Hope. But I'm thinking probably 2 or 3 episodes in, I think Mama Original is going to find out about Hope. And I think when that happens, that's when we're going to see Crazy Auntie coming back, Freya coming back. I think it's just going to be a whole whirlwind of just like nothing but trouble for the originals to come. They had a great holiday though, so that was kind of nice. But I don't think it's going to be so smooth sailing for them after this. It's just too much that they have against them. I do see Finn as a tragic character. Good question, Emily. I've always felt sorry for Finn, and a lot of you guys, if you didn't watch TBD, he had a story in TBD as well about him falling in love, and I've always felt bad for him because he was the one that stayed daggered the longest. Like supposedly Klaus daggered him for 900 years, and during that 900 years before he was daggered, he did fall in love with somebody. And then after that, they undagger him. So we see him in TVD for just a little bit. He finds out that the love of his life is still alive. They both die. And of course, Finn is gone again from TVD verse, but thankfully, the writers bring him back to the originals. So I do feel like he's a tragic character, and I feel like he's always felt left out of the loop. I feel like him and Klaus have a lot in common, but on different spectrums. Like, I feel like he feels a disconnect from his family because he never really gave in to all the vampire urges. And I feel like he's more tragic in that way. He's just trying to find a balance. Like, I feel like he loves his family, but I also feel like he kind of hates what they've become. And let me see. Ruthie said, I wish they would make up their minds if they're going to call. Yes, that does get confusing sometimes. Like Finn, Vincent, and then Caleb and Cole, because I do get confused sometimes. And I even get confused myself when I'm writing my reviews, because I find myself now doing just like, Vincent, Finn, or Caleb/Cole, because I don't know like how the audience kind of responds to it, or kind of audience kind of sees them now, since, they're in different bodies. But yeah, I wish they would too. I do like the original names better though. Even though I feel like now I can see both of them as Finn and Cole. The actors have done a wonderful job with that. So I would feel more comfortable with like just calling them the original names. But yeah, it does get very confusing. Very confusing. And then going back to what Emily asked about whether she believed or she won't be able to kill Hope. I don't think she will either. Julie Plec has hinted at extraordinary powers that Hope is going to have, which is, I'm still kind of baffled by this baby and what she's going to be able to do. Because right now, with me, I feel as though maybe she has abilities of a witch. Still don't know where the vampire gene is going to kick in. I feel like the werewolf gene is dormant because, of course, she hasn't killed anyone yet. So I feel like that gene hasn't been activated. But I really don't know because she has the ability to make hybrids. So it's kind of confusing. But I don't think it's going to be easy to kill Hope at all, especially not with this whole facade around the magical miracle baby. So I don't think, she's going to be able to sweep in and just kill this baby and that's it. Definitely by not. Let's see. Melbourne asked, do I ship Cammy and Klaus or Klaus and Caroline? That's a hard one. I do. Well, it's not really a hard one. It's more or less, I like elements of Cammy and Klaus. I do like him and Caroline better. I feel like both, I don't see the relationships as being similar. A lot of people say that. I think Cammy has similar characteristics. But I think they still kind of manifest in a different way than Caroline. I just like the way Caroline is like just straightforward with Klaus. Like, a lot of people forget that Caroline has went through a lot of issues in her past with both her parents like neglecting her, her mom trying to kill her at one point, her dad trying to kill her, telling her she's never going to be okay. I think she brought out that element in him, but in a good way. I think she just, was to the point, like one of my favorite scenes with them is the Michelson ball, when she says, oh, you had daddy issues, you feel like your daddy didn't love you, so no one else will either. And she tells him, but you've got to connect with people, you just can't shower them with this, that, or the other. I think for me, she was like the first person to really like see that. And I think she's still like the first person to really kind of see that. So I'm always fighting for Klaus and Caroline, whether they're on the same show or not. I do think that, maybe somewhere down the line, now with both of the shows being renewed, yay, that maybe they'll go back, or maybe we'll see them in a happy ending. Who knows? So we have a whole nother season to where there's thousands of stories to tell. So we don't know. But I do like him and Caroline a little bit better. As far as Haley, we had another question asked about, I do see him and Haley growing closer with the baby, but Klaus and Haley, I've never really seen as romantic. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know it's like a bunch of like Kalele shippers out there. I still love you guys though. And I support all ships. So I understand. You know, I have a ship myself, so I understand how it is to be just like enamored by this ship and want to fight for it. So, but I see them growing closer, but I also see her taking more of a sisterly role with him. Like I've never seen them, you know, romantic. Like I think they're gonna go grow a lot closer because of the baby, but I don't think it's gonna turn romantic. I definitely don't think it's gonna turn romantic now, especially not with that little heated scene with her and Elijah. I mean, talk about hot. Woo! That was hot. Um, but yeah, which is good. They need to grow close because they definitely need to be on the same page when all this craziness happens around their baby. Definitely. Um, Thomas asked, who besides Caroline would I like to see cross over? I would love to see Stefan. And I really want Stefan. And half of me really wants kind of Stefan to go before Caroline because Stefan and Klaus have this amazing chemistry. And I always felt like it was very brotherly. And I always felt like, you know, as much as Klaus could throw it out, Stefan could throw it right back, you know, and it was kind of almost like that brotherly relationship where it was like, I really want to kill you right now, but I can't because you're my brother. And, you know, they had like a really nice little bromance, you know, going. And I loved that. And I also thought he brought out a different side of Stefan. Like we got to see a little bit more darker layers to him. And that's one of the reasons why I loved their relationship. But we also got to see a different side of Klaus too. We got to see him kind of long for a friendship, and we got to see how much he, you know, really wanted a friendship and really enjoyed having Stefan around. And yes, I definitely want Stefan to go to New Orleans. Definitely. And yeah, even though I like Klaus and Caroline together, if not love them, and someday hope that they'll find their way back at some point, I think Stefan would be my first choice. If I had to pick, it would definitely be Stefan because I think it would just bring a different atmosphere to the show. And I think the fans will really love it, you know? So yes, Stefan. And let's see. Both the Salvatores would be nice. Him and Damon have a love-hate relationship too. And I always felt like Klaus and Damon kind of like clash because they could kind of see themselves in each other. You know, you can't be both the badasses. So I kind of like that too. That the 20s episode, yes, that was one of my favorite TVD episodes. I loved that episode for everything that it involved. I mean, of course, it brought in Rebecca, who I love. And of course, it brought in a different element. You know, we got to see kind of like that Ripper side of Stefan, which we had heard stories about, but never really kind of seen him act out on it. Stefan was really different in that episode. And I think Paul Wesley did a great job in that one as well. And yeah, that's probably like on one of my top list for my favorite TVD episodes, which I have a lot. Hey, thank you for all my buddies watching and giving me support. Love you. Okay, and what are my predictions for Rebecca? I think Rebecca bit off pretty much more than she can chew. Rebecca has always wanted to be human. She's always wanted to like just live this human life. And I think more or less the allure of it for her was that, you know, she was so young when they returned. And I think it was maybe because she never really got to experience that much of a human life. But I do think in the upcoming episodes, she's going to see how much of a difference it is. I think she's going to struggle a bit. And I think it's going to be a challenge for her. And I think even if she's going to have these witchy abilities, I think just not being able to be that, you know, vampire super badass, you know, like she normally is, it's going to really put a hindrance on her. So I wouldn't be shocked if by the end of the season, Rebecca might want to be a vampire again, which I would love that. But yeah, I think she's going to struggle a bit. And I think she's going to realize that the grass isn't always greener on the other side pretty quickly. Hey, Christina, and thank you. for tweeting my link out. Selena and Delana. See, I'm kind of weird with that one because see, TVD, like, which both the shows kind of have a way of doing that. I was definitely Stelena when I first started watching the show, of course. But then, of course, like when Stefan, was off with Klaus and everything, and you start seeing like the hints of Elena and Damon getting kind of close. I kind of like their little relationship too. But still somewhere, I still feel like her and Stefan were very, very good for each other. Like, I still feel like her allure to Damon was more or less the bad boy type. And, because, I mean, it's Damon. So who wouldn't want to? But, so I would definitely say probably starting out Stelena, bits and pieces Delana, but maybe now rolling back through Stelena. Yes, I know Emily is definitely a Delana fan. But yeah, I'm kind of torn. See, they did the same thing with me with Caroline and with Forwood because I loved Caroline and Tyler together. Even though I started to kind of like resent Tyler during most of it when he kept leaving. But starting out, like I felt like they really needed each other. And that's the one thing that both of these shows do. I think they really connect the characters at the time that they need each other the most. Like Tyler needed Caroline the most at that time when he was transitioning. Caroline needed, someone by her side as well. And they did eventually end up outgrowing each other. And I think that's with all the cases. I think each one kind of ended up outgrowing each other at some point because everybody matures and, things change. And different life situations changes. So Endgame should be we got Endgame should be Stefan, but I do love Delana scenes. That would be nice. That's weird. I've read bits and pieces on that, and at first I was kind of like, is it a rumor? And then when people were like, no, he's really leaving, I can kind of understand because I can say that that's one of my biggest frustrations here lately with the show is that I do wish that they would pull back and like kind of bring in more of the side characters. And I love Jeremy. I thought he, did a lot for the show. I loved his journey. I felt like a lot of people at that time could like relate. I loved him and Bonnie together. Oh my God. I rooted for them even when they weren't, a couple. I thought they were so cute. And I mean, it really makes me sad. But at the same time, I do understand that, actors do need to move on. I do understand that sometimes, storylines do need to end, unfortunately. So yeah, I think it's going to be a bummer, but I'm going to miss Jeremy. I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence about that one. I have to see how they kind of do it. Yeah, it does make me really sad. That's a good point too. He had lost some of his purpose. And I think just going back to like what even they were talking about with a couple of the fans and stuff and just people not really understanding or a lot of people not really, liking the season or I've heard different things. I think, yeah, I think after a while, like some of the characters did kind of lose their purpose. Like I really wish they would just go ahead and bring Bonnie, back into the forefront. Bonnie is so amazing. Kat Graham is so amazing for one, but Bonnie, her character is so amazing. Oh, and that's another character that I would love to see cross over to the originals because Bonnie's a witch and the Bennetts are like they come from a long line of like very strong witches that have always been close to the Michaelses at some point when you look through their history. So Bonnie is another crossover I would love to, even though that jumped off subject, but it just came up. But I do wish that they would give Bonnie a little bit more. I do wish they would give Matt a little bit more because I think Matt's growing. And I think if they find a good storyline for him, I think it could really blossom. And you know, at one point when they were doing the whole storyline about keeping the Supernaturals out of Mystic Falls, I was thinking that Matt was gonna like turn. Like I was thinking that eventually he was gonna be like, you know what? The town is a lot better. I don't have to worry about my friends, you know, dying or, you know, anything. I think I kind of like it without you guys here. Even though I love you guys, I think it's kind of nice. So I thought that maybe he was going to kind of turn and, you know, just not even want them back in town and kind of see life as a better way, because he's always been that pull to where, you know, he's always looked at where they've come from and then what they've turned into now. And it's kind of sad when you look at the story through Matt's eyes, because, you know, you have these people that, you know, he grew up with, and now they're either the same, not the same, kind of crazy, kind of not. It's kind of all over the place. Yes, Emily, Bonnie is a badass witch. I want more of Bonnie. She is. See, I was thinking that too with the crossover. See, I've always thought that, because that was one of the first things before they did the Tyler crossover. I thought that maybe it was going to be Bonnie, because that made more sense to me. I was like, okay, you know, Klaus always keeps 1,000 witches that he knows close by. The Bennetts are very strong, you know, because at one point, if you remember, Esther was even drawing her energy from the Bennetts at one point in TVD. So it made a lot of sense. Sorry, guys. So it made a lot of sense for her to, you know, go down to New Orleans and kind of help. But yeah, her going down and helping with the Crazy Dahlia situation would be awesome, because I think she's going to be a handful. But I'm excited to see that handful, because I think she's going to be awesome. Yeah, see, I said that too. Matt was really starting to enjoy the Vamp Free Zone. And I felt like for a minute, you know, he was just going to turn and say, don't want you guys back here. So much cooler. I can actually go to keg parties now and don't have to worry about people dying. This is awesome. This is where I need to be. So I thought he was going to turn. I think that would have been a great kind of shock for everybody for a while. Tyler and Klaus crossover was great. I did enjoy that. The only thing that I didn't like about that crossover was, for the people that didn't watch TVD, I felt like maybe it was kind of confusing where Tyler was coming from and who this kid was. They did try to explain it really quickly, but I felt like maybe they could have explained it more. But I love Tyler. I mean, it was to the point where, you know, at the end when I see him sitting there, telling, you know, Marcel about Haley and the baby, I was just like, ooh, Tyler needs to come over full time. Like at one point, like I wanted him to be full time on the originals, especially as a hybrid, because I thought he knew Klaus on so much of a different level. And I felt like he could really, you know, he knew a lot of his weaknesses. I felt like he could have really been an asset to like any of his enemies there in New Orleans. So I definitely wanted to see more of that. I know. Yeah, we did already cover it. Yeah, I'm so hurt by that news, but at the same time, I do understand it. But yeah, yeah, it's gonna hurt to see Jeremy go. I think now I'm more or less kind of scared, just to kind of touch bases on how they're really gonna make him leave. Maybe it's gonna be a good thing, because you remember that episode where Elena wanted him to like kind of go and live his life and be like away from the vampires and stuff. Maybe they'll do something like that. I hope they don't try to kill him off. I don't want it to be a sad going away. I want it to be a happy, like Jeremy goes off and rides off into the sunset. So hopefully, I hope that's where they go. Yeah, I think Klaus knows for sure that the other side is gone. Um, I think actually, if I'm not mistaken, first season when Michael first kind of hinted at coming back, Michael kind of let him know that the other side was going down. Um, so I think that he kind of knows, because that was the reason why Davina was able to bring him back, um, because the other side was going down. So I think when Klaus was having those, nightmares of Michael coming back, and when they had that whole scene with him confronting Haley and all of that stuff, I think that's when they kind of realized that the other side was going down. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Klaus did contact Bonnie. I don't think he specifically said Bonnie's name in the episode, but he did say that he spoke to a Bennett witch. How many times can Michael die? I don't know. It's that could like turn into a game. How many times can Michael die? Michael has died a lot. It'd be interesting to see, because the first time, I mean, yeah, he's had his body like burned. Yeah, he's gone through a lot of stuff, and he just keeps coming back. It's all that hate, I think, which is really weird, because he tries to project it on his children when really it should be projected towards, Esther. She was the one that kind of broke his heart, which is sad. Yeah, I hope it'll be a happy send off. I don't want it to be sad. I don't think I could take, oh my God, Bonnie's funeral was like the saddest ever. I don't think I could take like another sad episode like that. So I definitely don't want it to be anything bad that happens to Jeremy at all. I want it to be a good send off. He rides off into the sunset, lives happily ever after, far away from Mystic Falls and vampires and New Orleans. That's a good point. Bonnie coming back would prompt Jeremy to leave. I could see that. I could see that happening, because, he's been so hurt. And poor Jeremy. I mean, you think about it, all of his girlfriends have died, just about. Vicky, Anna, was it Anna or Anne? Anna, Bonnie. Yeah, just about all of his girlfriends have died. So I could definitely see Bonnie coming back, and then that just kind of, being enough for him to go through, especially because they've always been in a standstill at how much Bonnie does for her friends as compared to how much she does for herself. And that's always been an issue with Jeremy. So I could definitely see that happening. That's a good point. I wish they always would touch bases on that. It was a Bennett cousin that came, and I can't remember her name. I don't even know if we knew her name in that episode. Maybe we did. But she was there. Uh, and she did say that she would come back and help Bonnie. And it was weird, because I thought that maybe she would come back when all of the Silas stuff was going on too, but we never did see her. So it would be interesting if they did kind of like bring her back. So, and when we're on the subject, it would be interesting if they brought back, Bonnie's mom too. I would love to see Persia back. So that would be great, to bring back Bonnie's mom. Trying to think. So how do you guys feel about Liz dying? Possibly, or definitely. I don't know. That's breaking my heart. She's like the last Mystic Falls parent. And that just breaks my heart that she's dying. And I think it's really going to break Caroline as well. So maybe to bring out a little darker Caroline. I'm kind of really interested to see that. Maybe not like a full turn off my humanity, but kind of like, I don't care, and I'm going to stop trying to, be neurotic and fix everything. I'm just going to worry about fixing myself and do whatever I want to do for at least about 3 or 4 episodes. I think it'd be nice to see that. Like a fun, carefree Caroline for a couple of episodes. Let's see. Okay, and then we have another one. I feel like they need to bring Marcel back. Yes, they do. They definitely need to bring Marcel back to the forefront. And I'm kind of sad that Marcel isn't more involved with what's going on with the family. Um, just because they mean so much to him, and you can kind of tell that he still means so much to Klaus as well. Um, and I love that about their relationship. And I think that would be a great dynamic if they brought him back. You know, I mean, I could tell like the first season, more or less, he was just so mad that they left him, and I felt so bad for him, that they never came, to check on him or look for him. I just, my heart just went out to him when he said that. But yeah, they should definitely bring him back to the forefront. I think he could definitely be an asset. And I also think that he needs to work on his relationship with Klaus. I mean, technically, he's like Klaus's son. And I think he has a lot of old wounds that he needs to work on with a lot of the family, because you see flashbacks where him and Elijah were close as well. So I think that would be great to kind of bring him back into the center, especially bring him back more or less around the Michelsons, because I kind of consider him a Michelson too. So I would love to see that. Yeah, it's sadness that she's going to drop. Yes, I do think Caroline has suffered enough. And, you know, Caroline, as far as like TVD girls go, Vampire Diary girls go, Caroline is my favorite. She started out season 1 as not my favorite, but she turned into season 2 as being my favorite. And I just felt like, Candace played that role so great. Like, she was so relatable. Like, if you didn't see part of yourself in her, then everybody had that friend, and it just made it great. So for her to, lose her mom, God, it's just gonna rip her in two. Especially after she had to go through losing her father. So I think it's really gonna be a hard loss. Um, then somebody asked about is Claraline or Stairline is probably gonna be in game. It seems as though the writers want Stairline to be in game. I'm really wanting Claraline to be in game. And this was my take on it, always from the start. 423, when Klaus made that promise to her, I knew we wouldn't see Caroline for a while on the originals. I've always said, if they got like a third season, maybe the end of the second season, we would always see her, because I always thought, and that was one of the beauties of their relationship, Klaus always kind of left it, up to her. It was always Caroline's choice. But he also knew that she had to experience things as well. And he wanted her to experience things. So I always felt like she was going to grow a little bit before she came. He always called it, at the Decades Dance, he called it, you'll show up at my doorstep someday. So I kind of always kept that hope to where, maybe not right now, but maybe later. So I think possibly, maybe, if we go that route, but it's hard to tell. It's so hard to tell with what the writers want to do. Of course, I know all the fans, definitely majority of the fans would love to see Klaus and Caroline back together. It would be nice to kind of see him give like a phone call or something with Liz. That would be nice as well. That would be interesting. But like I always said, it would be interesting to kind of see a dark Caroline come back out of that a little bit too. I heard about that too, Ruthie, about the flashbacks with World War II and about the leadership that he had in it. And I think that's going to be awesome for Marcel. And I'm really ready to see that, because I miss seeing him. I mean, Charles Michael Davis, he has a beautiful smile. It's awesome. God, all these guys are like gorgeous. But yeah, I'm really excited to kind of see that. Oh, one person doesn't want Stairline. Yeah, I've kind of always seen them as soon as their whole dynamic went to it, and Stefan said that he reminded her of Lexi. I was like, oh, that is totally what this relationship reminds me of. It reminds me of Stefan and Lexi. And that's how I kind of fell in love with Caroline, as just, friends, because I was like, oh, she's his Lexi. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I miss Lexi, by the way, too. And let's see. I'm with you on that too, Emily. I'm thinking that like TBD does need to end, and that's always been my thing too. And that's what the fans really have to understand. Uh, You know, it's hard because I remember one of the reviews I was reading for one of this season's episode. I forgot which one it was. Caroline wasn't in it at all, and one of the reviewers said that, like, they were like, Caroline needs to be in every episode. We missed that episode. And then I really got, to start thinking, I was like, you know what? I was like, it really was kind of lacking without her there. So me, loving Klaus and Caroline too, kind of tore me in two, because I was like, as much as I want to see her on the originals, at the same time, I'm like, oh, it would be a big, her presence would be missed greatly on TVD. And I think that's kind of like where the writers are. And I think that's probably like where the cast kind of feels too. So I think it's kind of like an in-between for them. And I think that once they kind of get a wrap up on how they're going to end TVD and where they see things going, then I think that would be a possibility. Especially if the actors are up for it, and they don't mind exploring that relationship further, then I think that would be great. I think that would be great. Thank you, Ruthie. Yes, I love TBD. And thank you for the compliment. But yes, God, I don't know how many times I watched it. I mean, I could just watch it like all the time. I love TBD, and I love the originals too. But yeah, thank you guys. I'm glad. I'm a little nervous, but yeah, I'm a little nervous, but it's good. Y'all are asking some good questions. As long as y'all get me talking, as you can see, I'm a talker. So, and the people who know me know that. And I feel like that too. With Steven already leaving, and then if Candace yeah, that will be a big one. And that's what I feel like they're kind of up against. Caroline is a fan favorite, and if she goes, it will be really hard. I have played the scenario in my head of like maybe them doing like a couple of appearances, which I've always thought that like kind of if they know TVD is ending for sure, then maybe she could do, two or three like, guest appearances on the originals, just to kind of give the fans over there a taste of her as well. Because we still got to remember, like, some people are just now watching the originals that haven't watched TVD. So I think that would be great, and still kind of keep her presence on TVD, but it'd still be kind of hard. So yay. Thank you guys for giving me a round of applause. But yeah, virtually. Thank you. So I think that would be an issue. And I think that was one of the biggest issues. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Ian kind of touched base on that. It might have been at Pele Fest last year. I think he had noted something about it. Basically about like Caroline being a fan favorite, how much like TVD would kind of lack without her being there. So I think that was really one of the biggest issues. Honestly, guys, I think it was really one of the biggest issues just going into the spinoff. I think, essentially they knew that they needed Candace there. So, but we'll see. There's time. They got renewed, so it's always time. That's great. More storytelling, right? Thank you. Yay. So before we wrap up, possibly, did anybody have any more questions? What are you guys like really excited for? Like, what's like your number one like storyline? Like the storyline, as soon as the shows come on next week, like you're just ready to see. Mine, of course, is the crazy auntie. I love villains, of course, because I love Klaus. So I definitely want to see her, especially her and Esther. Because I didn't think Esther could, I didn't think anybody could top evilness like Esther, but I think her sister's gonna top her. I think her sister's really gonna be up there. As far as TBD, I'm ready to see what's going on with Caroline and the whole Liz situation because I'm kind of hurt. Yes, Esther's decision. Maybe they'll open with that. Yes, she's gonna be. Oh my. Yes, I'm loving. I'm loving that. So Caleb and Davina, yes, I'm loving that. I am loving that. I really am too. That's going to be a good little dynamic for her. And I'm glad they kind of gave Davina a storyline as well. Cause she, you know, I was kind of with her on season 1, but season 2, she's grown on me. I mean, they've given her, she's branched out so much. Clemiel, I think that's, yeah, Cammy and Klaus. I'm interested to see that too. I'm interested to see that too. So, and yeah, I ship other people, but I mean, I'm open. That's what I call them, Kalob. That's funny. But yeah, I ship other people too. And it's not like I like Klaus and Cammy's relationship. Um, I don't think it's a bad relationship. I just don't, I think the only part I kind of like, I think he definitely needs somebody on his side. He definitely needs somebody on his side because we all understand that, you know, his family can be kind of wishy-washy. So, you know, Elijah can love him, which he's always going to love him. But at the same time, he can just be like, I'm fed up with your crap. It's done. Haley as well. She's had her moments. And I think him and her are going to kind of clash when it comes to the safety of Hope. I think there is going to draw them closer, but I think they're also going to have a lot of misunderstandings about that. Because we all know, like, Klaus is going to be kill them all if they're going to be a threat to her, whatever. So, but Klaus and Cammy, I do like certain dynamics of their relationship. They did say it was going to be rumors of an original dying. I still haven't narrowed that down yet. I see signs to where it could be Cole, but I also see signs to where it could be Finn as well. But I don't want any of them to die. Thank you, Ruthie. You have a good night. I don't see any. I don't want any of them dying, you guys. I really don't. But I did think about that. Finn is a regular, so I'm kind of scared that it's Cole too. I hope it's not Cole because I really like him and Davina together. So I really hope it's not him. But and half of me is kind of thinking, you know, is one aspect we kind of forgot. Rebecca is still an original and she's going to be on there too. So I'm kind of hoping it's not Rebecca. A lot of people keep forgetting that. You know, they always go to Cole. So TBD or TO. I love both of them. TBD will always have a special place in my heart because I've watched it for as long as it's been on the air. TO I love as well. So I like both of them. And plus I love Klaus. I'm a Klaus fan, y'all. I love Klaus. He's awesome. Team Klaus all the time. And just to put some stuff out there. Thank you. And just to put some stuff out there, you guys can always follow us. You can always check here at the Instigator site so you guys can start predicting. It's coming up. The premiere is coming up. So you can always get rewards and points and all that good stuff. That's amazing. You definitely want to do that. You guys can follow all of us on Twitter. We're always there at some point. We're nice and friendly, so feel free. You can always send us something. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Mine is at the Originals AAF. And then, of course, you know, I've got all my links on there as well. And then Instacator as well, on Twitter. So definitely check us out with the new season starting. I am. That's going to be real interesting. I'm kind of scared though. I don't think it's going to turn out like, I'm kind of scared for Joe. But I still feel like it's something that she's not saying. So I feel like when they start, it's going to kind of be a hitch in it. And that's what kind of scares me. So I'm just kind of like, so I'm kind of excited for that. But at the same time, I'm kind of scared for Joe. And of course, I'm scared for the twins. So, but all right, you guys. So we're going to wrap it up. And be sure to tune in next week. We're definitely going to do something before, probably before the premiere of the show, so then everybody can get excited. And we'll do like a real quick little session, come in, especially because I know we're going to get like new spoilers, new information by then, new pictures, fandom news, all of that stuff. So if you have any more questions, check me out next week. Time. Thanks. And thank you guys for tuning in and supporting us and all that good stuff. So I'll see you next week.